it's really nice to have those memories because George and I and Eddie had such a good time and we all got along really well. And we watched a lot of Dodger games together and shared a lot of meals.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Well, congratulations on the film.
Oh, thanks.
I was smiling the whole time watching this because this is not the only movie that equates faith and sports, right? So I think it's so funny
Right,
that, kind of that whole if you build it, they will come sort of motto.
right, exactly, exactly.
How much fun was it working on this film? It looked like Edward James Olmos and George Lopez were having tons of fun because they had such great chemistry on this film.
I mean, they alone are worth going to see those two together. It's such a beautiful repartee that they have.
Mhm.
So I hate to tell you, it was a little bit too much fun. I mean, we had our times that were difficult and whatnot, but um, they're just such great guys, and everyone got along well together. We all watched the Dodger games together, and
Mhm.
and I'm keeping that with me during COVID. It's easy to look back on the good times.
Well, and it is so appropriate for this time because it does start out with a tragedy, but then, in the end, there's hope and there's a
Yes,
light at the end of the tunnel. So it kind of
right,
mimics what's going on right now, right?
right, exactly. I mean, how about the timing of all this? It's so wild
Mhm.
because we are going through such a dark time, and just as the theaters might be opening up, we can maybe go see this movie, Walking with Herb. What's that
Mhm.
about?
Mhm.
But it does, I mean, it does lift you up. It does give you a little hope. Like maybe things won't be the same, but maybe they'll be okay and they'll be a little different. But maybe we could be a little lighter next
Mhm.
time around.
And you and Edward James almost have such a great chemistry. Did you know him before? Did you get to know him on the set or a little bit before?
Well, I got to know him when he directed this movie, The Devil Has a Name, and my agent called and said, Ed James Olmos is going to do this movie, and he's looking for someone to do this cameo, like the wife, that the guy remembers. And I said, Edward James Olmos, I'll do whatever he wants. So I did that, and then afterwards, we went to go do ADR, which is where you replace funny sound. And he said, there's something I want to talk to you about. I said, okay. And so he came out to the ranch, and we talked about this movie. And then I realized it was written by Mark Medoff, who wrote Children of a Lesser God. And I'd worked with him on Clara's Heart with Whoopi Goldberg. And I thought, Edward James Olmos is asking me to do a movie and Mark wrote it. Yes, I'm doing it. Yes.
Now it's to me it would kind of hit a personal note because my mom experienced so many tragedies in her life, but she is so strong because of her faith, and I really admire her for it because somebody else would have totally lost it because without having kind of a belief system in place, like she wouldn't be able to cope. And so this kind of reminded me of her
Mm,
journey and how strong she is. It kind of reminded me of you, how you kind of you experience the same tragedies, but you're a little more uh, not comforted, but I guess comforted. You're a little more comforted, and he's a little bit more troubled.
yeah. Well, I like to say that Sheila's a little bit better than me, and isn't it interesting? It is a lot of mothers. I mean, as much as independent as we can get and as many more choices as we have now, some of us as women, uh, there's still a nature to women that is nurturing. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a beautiful thing. But Sheila's has more faith. She's steadier in it than I
Mm-hmm.
am. And she has a real goodness to her. I met the real Sheila. So I based it on her and another woman that I know, um, who's that way. I'm not quite as patient.
And of course, we got to ask, you were in the classic Apollo 13, like 26 years ago, or is it?
Yes.
What's,
Lord, that long? Good.
yeah, we're upon the 30th anniversary.
Okay.
What was some of your favorite memories from that movie? Because it's still, I mean, it's still played and people still love that film.
Oh, well, you know, what's really interesting to me is the incredible opportunities that we're afforded as actors. So one of the opportunities was to fly down to Texas to meet the real James Lovell and his wife, Marilyn Lovell. And I'll never forget it. I'll just never forget it. I stayed in their home and I got to ask Marilyn all kinds of questions. And then at 6 o'clock in the morning, the next day, a speaker went off and said, "Reveille, reveille." And it was Captain James Lovell. And he wanted to go for a swim first in the lake. So we went for a swim. I'll never forget it. And he flew me in his plane and let me take over the controls.
Wow.
Incredible. Never forget it.
Yeah, that's such a cool memory to have.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you, since they play golf and you're in this such a beautiful location, where did you shoot?
We were in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And they were lovely.
Yeah, it almost added kind of that spiritual scenario. It was very like, it was beautiful.
It's really something. And it's right next to El Paso.
Mm.
The El Paso people, my heart's out to them, but that was also a lovely place to go.
When did you shoot this movie? Before the pandemic or during?
I don't even remember. I think it was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was before the pandemic. And, but, you know, I was saying that it's really nice to have those memories because George and I and Eddie had such a good time and we all got along really well. And we watched a lot of Dodger games together and shared a lot of meals. And so I got to know them in a different way and they'll always be in my heart. But it's really nice to have something like that to look back on during this dark time that we're all going through.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to learn more, if the people want to learn more, they can go to walkingwithherthemovie.com and it'll tell you about when it's opening nationwide. And maybe we'll even get to go to a movie theater April 30th. Who knows?
Yeah, if you want positive, this is the movie because there's so many there's so many dark movies out there.
Yeah, we want to lift you up a little bit here.
And then one last question. So George Lopez and Edward James Olmos, they're icons in the Latino community. So it's so great to see him in a film.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad, but it's not related to the ethnicity. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's inclusive, without having to mention anything. So I really like that. Do you think you're a veteran of Hollywood? Do you see the things changing?
A little bit. I'm glad that it's never quite enough to make up for our history, but yes, I do see it changing a little, and I'm looking forward to it changing more. It so wasn't about ethnicity, but I'm glad that I got to work with Edward James Olmos and George Lopez. They're both actors of fine caliber. And, when I first came to Hollywood, the first people that ever took care of me when I was 18 years old were the Latino people, the Ortezes and the Orbillos. Old man Joe helped me buy my first car, all in Spanish. It was amazing. I'll never forget it. So yay. That's what I have to say.
Well, thank you for the movie. I really enjoyed it. You all had great chemistry. It was great to watch you guys on screen and such a positive movie. So I hope a lot of people will check it out.
I hope so. You'll have a good time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. An honor to speak with you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.